what they liked about Trump, whether or not they realized it or not, was that Trump being such a horrible person, and in some ways being celebrated in the way like a Clint Eastwood would be celebrated for killing the wrong guy and not caring, or something, or something like this, like yeah. I'm excessive, but so what? What are you gonna do about it? And like there's this cowboy figure character to it, but there's also this idea of like, oh, he's never gonna judge me for my flaws if he's worse at it and proud of it. It's like, if he's all his personal defects, he kind of gives. That's
a weird psychology, but that
it
is
a weird psychology. But you have to get into this psychology stuff because otherwise, how do you understand the people who voted for Obama and voted for Trump? It's like the millions of people that voted for Obama that then went and voted for Trump. It's like
I'll tell you what.
If it's just about tone, then their tones are complete opposites in some ways. So what explains that?
Yeah, I think
it's about some
some
deep
of that
feeling
makes
and
sense.
narrative, how they fit into some universal storyline and how they speak to your deep psychology that you don't even understand. You just feel it, and then you go fill in the facts to fit your feeling about why you agree with him on whatever.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of that. I think the Democrats are way behind on certain things like YouTube personalities. There is a real serious cottage industry so for instance, apparently black men 2-point bump, right? From 2016 to now, Donald Trump, black men moved in Donald Trump's direction.
And here's Billy to explain to us what happened.
Exactly. Let me tell you about the polls. No, I'm back doing the poll thing, right? Didn't I just say I'm done with polls?
Yeah. Billy, can you answer for
but
your
here,
community?
Exactly, right? Look, I think there's two things. There's this culture personality that he created where it's not about policy or anything meaningful at all. It's just, I think there are people, and I've spoken to some who, like Candace Owens has sold the idea that, and there's some truth to this, the Democrats have, not some truth, there's a huge truth to this, that the Democrats have failed the black community and have taken for granted this 90% plus support from this community. And since the Green Party and other alternatives are considered illegitimate, Candace Owens has marketed herself as this like avant-garde, like, oh, if you're still with the Democrats, you're not thinking right, And so what's the only other alternative by that narrow standard is the Republican Party, even as there's this like monstrous racist idiot at the helm. They were able to get some people to go over, and the culture around it had people going, there are guys who can argue, who would argue that they're just 4 years ahead of you. Like, you black people who still vote Democrat, you're still voting Democrat, and that was part of their thing. Which is why one of the biggest things I would like to see happen is a growth in the legitimacy of alternate parties, particularly the Green Party. The Green Party, who has fielded, I know many people are excited for Kamala Harris to swear herself in as vice president, and I'm excited to a degree. But I do know that the Green Party has run a black candidate at not just at vice president, but at president, a black female candidate. In 2008, it was Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente as vice president. Cynthia McKinney was a member of the House of Representatives. And she ran on the ticket as president. And Rosa Clemente is a Latin American woman, I believe she's from New York. I don't know which borough. Rosa Clemente worked out here in Maryland as well. And I met both of them at the time. But yeah, I mean, if you're excited by that, if that kind of marker of progress is energizing to you, well, the Green Party can speak to you there. And then if we get into policies, I'm down to do that as well. I find that a lot of, like, for instance, these what was it? Ice Cube wrote up a policy plan, and so many other people write up these policy plans, trying to see some change in the Democratic Party. Some of this stuff overlaps very neatly with the ideas that have been presented by the Green Party for decades, and but it just doesn't get out there because there's a real collusion between both parties in terms of determining who is a legitimate candidate and what are legitimate parties. And that's something to fight through. And I think the U.S. voter, which is our topic, the U.S. voter would benefit mightily from accepting the fact that the Green Party exists. We don't need to duplicate our efforts. They've been at this for a while. All of the obstacles about getting signatures on ballots and this and all these things, they've been at this for a while. And that's something to consider.
Yeah, I mean it would definitely be. I mean, it's the debates commission, for example, in the United States. People think that's sort of like some sort of neutral institution, maybe, or something like this. But no, that was set up. I can't remember the whole history of it, but there used to be a much more neutral debate situation in the United States where third parties could get in, or third candidates if they had a certain amount of support. I can't remember exactly how it worked. And then the two parties came together and said, you know what, screw that. Let's start our own debates commission. We'll only do debates through the commission that we set up as parties as a private corporation, I think it is. I'm not sure. It's the Commission on Debates, or the Commission on Presidential Debates. And they basically set it up in a way that no third party will ever get into a debate, as it currently stands. And, that's...
and there's some great footage of Ralph Nader in 2000, who, for whatever their marker for getting into that debate, is you have to poll, again, back to the polls, you have to poll at a certain percentage. And Ralph Nader was just short of that. But he was packing stadiums the way that the Orange Idiot was packing stadiums, like full of... people excited to hear this progressive message, and he was excluded. And there's footage of him being escorted off the debate premises by police, because the two parties said no, this man, and his access to the debate stage, his ability to stand on that stage alongside the two major parties and ask the difficult questions that the two parties sort of agreed not to deal with, could have been game-changing, but they didn't allow it to happen. Yeah. Let me just say one more thing about the Green Party, because I only mentioned Cynthia McKinney, Rosa Clemente from 2008. In 2020, the vice presidential candidate was Angela Walker, who is a black woman who is worth Googling. And the presidential candidate himself was Howie Hawkins. So, again, this isn't the thing to hang your hat on. I don't think it's like everything, but I do know many people for whom the ascension of Kamala Harris is a big deal, and I want to speak to them and say, I hear that, and that's just not the only thing. If you still find the Democratic Party to kind of fall short in a general sense, like, here's some options.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to add to that. Just to say that the adding another party or two is not immediately make things better, or maybe or like considerably better.
Not immediately.
Not immediately. I'm just saying, like, we have a lot of issues in 3-party, 4-party democracies as well. And you still the amount of, like, for me, the amount of corruption in your system is like the biggest problem. It's because we've elected third party NDP or Green Party coalition governments in provinces here in Canada, not yet at the federal level, and they've made subtle changes, but one of the most progressive provinces in Canada elected a NDP, which is our third left-wing party, like our left-wing party that's to the left of Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, and the Green Party. They made a coalition government in British Columbia, and they're the people sending the police to arrest Indigenous matriarchs for defending their land from pipeline construction to move more fossil fuels, and despite the fact that they don't have permission to be on that land. And so I'm just like going against all the things that they've signed, saying that they're going to reconcile with Indigenous people, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which they ratified, going against their own Supreme Court case, going against also. So I'm just saying, and it's all because this is a $6 billion pipeline. That's it. That's all. So at the end of the day, if you have a corrupt system, you can have 80 parties. You can represent the pepperoni pizza only party. You can have everybody in there, and as long as the most richest people in the country can just pay them off, that's good luck.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
After my whole like Green Party spiel, you just gonna hit me with that, huh?